Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Hindsight, where we see bad situations that can be avoided by good reasoning. But sometimes a situation is unavoidable and self defense is needed to get you to safety.
Folks, welcome to the Hindsight Podcast. I'm Beat Physicist. I'm here with Mr. Suave and your host with the most, Sensei Buddha. How you guys feeling?
Good. Host with the most, Beat Physicist. Good.
Yes, sir. Feeling good. Good to be back on the air with you gentlemen again.
Yay.
All right. All right. Well, today's story is coming out of Bridgeville, Delaware. Last time we were talking about home invasions, where you're inside your home and, somebody gets to drop on you. Well, in this incident, the terror is happening outside of the home. So we have a mother and her 3 children, of course won't be identified for the obvious reasons, that pulled into their driveway of this mobile home park. So in the dark, after she pulled in, a 4-door passenger vehicle came behind, pulled up behind, and blocked them from getting out of the trailer park. 2 males, got out of the cars. They pulled out the firearm. Well, both of them were armed, and one of them goes to the driver's side and basically says, "Hey, ante up, give it up." Goes through the young lady's pockets and takes some money. The suspects are 2 Hispanic men, I think in their 20s. Yeah, upper 20s. One's in the upper 20s, one's in the mid 20s, wearing a jacket with the hoodie. They're both wearing hoodies. Thankfully, none of the victims were hurt. The mother and 3 children, from the story, appear to be fine. So these bandits made off with the loot. And that's what we're going to talk about today, folks. So, if you're used to how we do things here, Hindsight, Mr. Suave, go in.
Give me the loot. I'm a bad boy. Give me the loot. I'm a bad boy. That's what comes to mind first off. Oh, man. Hey, for y'all youngins that don't know, that's a little song by Biggie Smalls. Just want to throw that out there. We always try to add some humor to the tragedies or the inconveniences of others. But, then we also going to spit you that knowledge and them jewels and them gems for you. Now, on the Hindsight, our views and our views alone. So things we may say may get your ass whipped, may get you to whip a ass in self-defense. So, with that said, get out your feelings and keep your ears open. All right. So, man, this is some recklessness right here. I'm reading the story, and say Brother Buddha, he as he always do, he gives a good breakdown, a synopsis, a soliloquy of everything before we even get on the show. So before we pregame, we were on point. He even brought up the statistics of that area it happened in, that mobile home in Delaware. And they've been having a string of robberies. They've been having bad handlers of management with all these things. They're not providing security. They're not helping these people out. I've never myself lived in a trailer home. I visited a couple trailer homes. For some friends, and I see the layout. Some are good, some are older communities, and some are just sketchy as all hell. And you could just see, and I've seen it when I was in my younger, I don't want to say recreational days. I'll say that. Yo, it's just crazy in that environment. It can be real crazy in that environment. So, depending on, it seems this lady's situation has her living there because that's what her means allow, you know what I'm saying? And, you can't fault her for that. But I'm going to take another turn on this, I first off and say, she was in her car, she was with her kids. These dudes came and strong-armed her. Came with the handgun, pulled it on her, took all her loot, everything, a couple things she had in her pockets. Yo, run the jewels, run everything. Then the other dude went to the other side, looked at the kids, just standing there, you know what I'm saying? So that was that. Best thing she could have done in that situation right there is nothing. She did exactly what you're supposed to do. You got your kids. This ain't the movies, okay? there's not much she could have done at that point. At that point, she did exactly probably the best thing somebody could do, especially when you're there with your kids. Ain't the time to try to be Superman or Rambo, John Rambo or some shit like that. You know, you got them kids to worry about. So, hey, just give them what they want, and hopefully it ends right there. And luckily, that's where it ended. You know, they didn't try to molest or rape her or beat her. They didn't try to molest or kidnap one of the kids, you know, which is a big epidemic that's going on right now with trafficking people just stealing kids and, you know, putting them in that system. But, you know, they just came, got the money and bounced. So I think in this situation, she did the best thing as far as self-defense goes. Now, awareness and, as we always say, hindsight, you know, she could have been more aware of her surroundings. She could have, you know, in law enforcement, and you know what, just sometimes even in general knowledge, you should never take the same way home. You should take different way home, especially in law enforcement. That we're told to take different routes home. At least take 5 to 7 different routes to your house, because you'll know if someone's following you. I've been followed before. I had to pull up on somebody before who was following me, and it's you know, it's that 1% of you don't know. It's just a real edgy, on edge situation. All right, so it's not pleasant. It's not okay. It's not fun. You know, it's real. See somebody following you, you're doing things to make sure that they're following you, and you know for sure they're following you. There's things you could do. You take a couple extra turns, do some hard braking, jump on the highway, see if they stay behind you. You know, there's things you could do, especially with the kids in the car. Now, when I say I'm gonna take a little turn on it, it's like they say it was an undisclosed amount. What was she doing with an undisclosed amount of money with her kids in the car? To me, that leads me to leave. Was she tricking? Then she went and got her kids? Was she stripping? Then she went and got her kids? Was she in the transporting game? She the drug business or something like that? You know, I don't know. If you live in that environment, you know there's a lot of robberies going on. You don't keep cash on hand like that unless the job you at pays you like that. And even then, you try to keep it stashed away somewhere. So it seemed these individuals were watching. They were praying, maybe from wherever she was coming from. They just tracked her down until she stopped, and it was a wrap. They knew what she had on, and they took it. That was that. That's that you don't give much details of the female. And I could be 100% wrong in going all out on her like that. So I could be wrong. I get some backlash on that. I'll eat it. But I'm just saying there's too many open details here. Like, why are you traveling 9:30 at night? That's okay. You can't. That sounds like the time you came from work. What kind of work you doing? Why you got all that cash on your hand? Why do these motherfuckers know you got all this cash on your hand? Why is it not stashed in the bank? Why ain't you take a couple different routes home? Especially if you know you got all that cash in your hand, on hand, in a trailer park. You know people getting robbed there recently. House getting broken in recently. It's things you got to do. You got to. It's always a lot of things in life. We're always reactive. You got to try to be proactive. You got to try to keep your shit. You don't want people to come take your shit. You got to be proactive to shit. So, to me, that's just like I said, I give her a thumbs up on her doing the right things. Once that situation got hot, once that situation got hectic, I think she did the best self-defense she could have got. I'm almost positive there was no neighborhood watch where she's living. It doesn't look like it is. The land handlers are not on that type of time. So I don't even think that's a factor in this situation. But then again, who knows? You don't want a neighborhood watch like George Zimmerman coming in busting people in hoodies, which one of them had, But I mean, in this situation, it would have been good. But normal situations, that's still a little, it's a little 50-50 because neighborhood watch is not the police. Neighborhood watch, you observe and report. That's all you're supposed to do, and that's all you're supposed to do on that situation. Yeah, man. I'm just feeling a little sketchy about what she was involved in, if she was involved in anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I want to know and see what's going on with her. And but like I said, as far as her keeping herself safe, well, keeping the kids safe first, and then keeping herself safe, I think she 100% did the right thing, and that was the best thing at that point. So, as far as I'm concerned, hopefully they catch these dirt bags. I do think they if they don't know her, they knew what she had on her. So it wasn't hard for them to come track her down. This was planned. This was staged. This was not random. This was a setup. Well, not a setup, but this was them watching her. And this was premeditated. And that's all I got to say. Sensei Buddha, all you, brother.
Thank you for that, brother. And I just want to say that I wholeheartedly agree with what it is that you have said. I want to thank the physicist for that great introduction to the story. And the thing here is this. We're dealing with people that, let's say, we're going to suppose that she doesn't know who these guys were. We don't know if they came in different vehicles and they were watching her home. We do know, obviously, they were observing her and stalking her. Whether you are wealthy or with menial means, when you have homes, such as this situation, when you're in a mobile trailer park type of situation, it doesn't matter. You got management, but they're not trying to help you. The neighbors have got to come together and help each other out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I completely agree with Mr. Suave, what he had said. You're there to observe and report. In my humble opinion, if the lady had had her head on the swivel, she may have detected and said, hey, there's this car there. Maybe the car had been sitting there. Maybe the car even followed her into the trailer park and she was completely oblivious to it. Remember, when you're getting robbed or jumped or you're being accosted in such a way, you're just thinking, oh man, home is right around the corner, just a couple of feet. I can come on in there, bring the kids in and just sit back and just cool out and watch TV. But you can't do that. You got to really, really be more vigilant than ever. And this is where you need a good neighborhood watch. If she could have observed that these people were following her, she could have drove right past her house, made the call to the police, and made a call to the neighbor who's probably directly next to her or across the street to just observe. And then they can, of course, call into the police. I've noticed it was sadly, there was an accident that had happened in front of my college where a woman was hit by a car. And like at least 10 to 12 people on the phone calling in the same thing about, hey, there's an accident here, a woman got hit. And you should have seen the police response. It was fast. And I believe that if you're getting multiple calls and they're all saying the same thing, you're going to get a faster response because it's looking like, hey, there's something here that's going on. Now, if your neighborhood watch is something that's more tightly knit, which I would hope that y'all would be, if you have to do something where they're assaulting somebody in your neighborhood, that neighborhood then has to work out tactics and protocols on how to deal with those individuals until the police arrive. That's why it's very essential if you can build some type of a relationship, a good relationship that is, with the police departments. But the self-defense move that she had was just to comply, give up the money, and just be cool and very level-headed. And I'm very glad that nobody in this case was hurt. We provided a number in at the bottom of our article where you can reach somebody if you should happen to know these two individuals. And that's another thing that's very strange because they're going to say that these two people, that they were shrouded, they had hoods on, they covered their face, but they was able to talk about that one of the gentlemen had a beard that was 1 inch long, and one was darker and one was in a more youthful 20s and one's in the later 20s. I'm going to tell you something. I'm very bad with guessing ages. Sometimes, if I see a 15-year-old kid, I can't tell a 15-year-old kid from an 18-year-old kid. I really can't. So if these people were shrouded up and covered up, I really, I really do hope that this woman probably did not know these people. But if she did, that's, a very scary situation too. Because not only do you now have someone who's a predator, you now have somebody who knows your work habits. They know what you do. They know when you're getting paid. And they went right. They knew when to go ahead and block this woman in and go and get her money. And to me, when they say undisclosed amount, okay, yeah, she may have only had $10. She may have had $500. Who knows? But the thing is, it seems like it was a very surgical type of a strike. But once again, this is where, as neighbors, you have to get together, especially when we are looking at this particular type of housing place. The landlords do not help the tenants out there. There's complaints of the place is known for having robberies right there that should bond. the people in that neighborhood together. But sadly, with situations like that, it doesn't. But something there has to change. But we do hope that they catch these people. And that's just my comment on it. Be physicists?
Yeah, there's something I do want to add about this young lady's vigilance, and I have to actually I have to look at this another way, because I'm not sure how old the kids are, but I'm guessing they're probably maybe teenagers or less. If she's 30 years old, maybe a 10-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, could be a toddler. So, I mean, having one kid can be a distraction, coming home late at night if the kid isn't sleeping. 2 kids, chances are, yeah, sure, why not? Both kids are asleep. But usually if there's 3 kids in the car, there's some jumping around, there could be a pet. So there can be a lot of distractions in a car with 3 children that are, maybe a teenage age or less. So I could see where she may not have been completely aware of her surroundings and just had her mind in, okay, I'm tired, I got to get home. Maybe the kids haven't eaten yet, who knows, got to put them to bed, brush their teeth, all that. So, her mind was pretty preoccupied, Well, I suspect that her mind was really preoccupied with 3 children in the car. So that situation is really difficult.
Oh, excellent point. Excellent point. I didn't take that into a factor as well. And this also proves the fact that this is why you need a good community watch, where people have got to watch each other's back. If she, like how you said, she may have not, she may have been preoccupied. If there had been concerned neighbors, now I'm going with the assumption that a car was just there laying in wait. We don't know if that car had followed her into the community, or if it was already parked on another street, and then when she started to just pass by, then the car got behind her, and then it just looked innocent enough. And then when she turned up her driveway, they then blocked her in. That's the sad part. I don't know the details of the technique of how they were able to get so close to her and just cut her off like that. But they knew what they were doing. It was obvious that they've watched her, or sadly, possibly, that they may have known her. But no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. She could have been, predisposed, preoccupied. Absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, I took that into account when I was giving my thoughts and opinions. But I still, like I said, man, I've been followed. When someone's following you. Distractions or not. Kids or not. You just know when something is, you got that spidey sense. When something ain't right, you got that gut feeling, and you ignore it. Or, if you, like I said, you just driving how you driving, even though you pulling up in your driveway, you still see this car, something ain't right. Like I said, I know the kids can be a distraction, but I'm not saying, man, when somebody's following you, or you even sense somebody's following you, I'm always looking in all 3 mirrors to see who's behind me, what cars I'm driving with. May I even slow down and let them pass and see what happens, especially on the highway. So, like I said, I don't. Yeah, that's a viable outcome, but I don't think that was it 100%. Yeah, we don't know the age of the kids, but if the kids are screaming, crying, you can't do nothing till you get home anyway. If the baby need a diaper change, you can't stop in the middle of the road to change that diaper. So, the baby's just gonna have to cry. Eventually they'll stop. As long as the baby ain't gonna die while it's crying, you know what I mean? My kid, when she cried, just, hey, baby, just chill out. Like another 20 minutes, you're gonna have to hang tight. And, it'll go away eventually. Or it should just keep crying for the next 20 minutes. And, it's just what it is, part of being a parent. A parent, aunt, guardian, all that. It's just part of the business. But I said, I don't buy that. Yes, it's a bullet point, but I don't buy it as it could be the whole thing that made her not to realize she was being followed. I don't think. physicist.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your opinion. Yeah, valid point.
Once there's some hostility in there, man. Let me get some emotion out of you. I hear that.
Nah,
Funny.
I mean, I don't agree. I think there was, us as a parent, probably a single parent with 3 kids in a car jumping around, possibly a dog. I mean, your spidey senses are getting interfered
Where you get this
with.
dog from? Don't start adding kids and people in the car now. What are you doing?
I think because we were talking about dogs before we started the podcast, might have just got in my head.
See, now you crowding the car up. Now you're making it a clown car. This ain't a clown car.
But we were talking about the dog. We were talking about having kind of a dog in the house at the home, and the size of the dog.
That wouldn't have helped here though.
No, it would not. It most definitely would have not. That's definitely a discussion for another day. But this is the thing. Since we're doing this article and we are looking at it in hindsight, this wonderful woman and the tragedy that befell her and her 3 children, we can now move forward and say, hey, man, I'm going to now pay extra attention to my surroundings around me, because I don't want what happened up there in Delaware to come and now happen to me. And it can happen. And we had covered a story before about a gentleman who was a rapist that was in Brooklyn. Remember, he snuck into the building and the woman had left her door open. She didn't even lock her door. And this creep came in there and then he did his thing. It's one of our old podcasts. So just simple things as far as locking the door, keeping security tight, keeping your head on a swivel, and having a neighborhood watch or a good neighbor to, even if you call them and say, hey, look, I'm about to pull into the block now. Have you noticed anybody in front of my home hanging around or hanging out? Yeah, man, you might have to do a buddy system like that. But sadly, when people are homeowners or home renters, to me, there really should be a camaraderie there. I'm really saddened that people play classism, or even worse, maybe the people who are your potential neighbors could be your potential enemy to rob you. We just don't know that whole situation that's going on over there. But something does have to change. And with hindsight, we now have this woman's tragic story to help better prepare us as we all move forward, including her. I can guarantee you now, she's going to be most definitely have her head on a swivel and, be looking around to make sure no one's following her in her home. And I hope she's able to have the money and resources to move from that place if she has to, because when we check that review, it seems like robberies there are the order of the day. So it's not a very safe neighborhood. Yeah.
Is it really tragic, Sensei? Is it really tragic, or is it inconvenience? Minus the handguns. It's a messed up situation.
It is. It's a messed up situation. And I'm going to tell you, it always goes back to when people do not back each other up and they just turn their heads the other way and they have the philosophy of, hey, man, it ain't me. I don't know what that problem is. That could be an OB. But if people were to stand together and be like, hey, man, you ain't doing that. And before you know it, you got 15, 20, 30 people out there in the streets. And people don't want none of that. When these people are doing these jobs, man, they want the stealth of night and quiet to be on their side. But now everything's lit up. Like in that neighborhood, they're going to have to invest in a lighting system, a camera system. They're going to have to do it, even if the management does it. The people are going to have to collect that money. I mean, the same way that people go to that church, which is a wonderful thing, if that's your spirituality. But now you're going to have to use that money to collect and start putting cameras in strategic places. And you're going to have people that watch the street. They can be at home, get their binoculars out, or have a camera right there at the window and start recording. You got to develop a buddy system. I'll take the house in front of me. The neighbors next door, they'll take the house in front of them, and vice versa. And you may have to do phone tag so that if they say, you get a call from Billy, Billy says he's gone, but you see a whole bunch of people in front of his house, or one or two people in front of his house, you call and say, Billy, you got some people coming over today? No. Call the cops. Stop that thing right away. Get as much description as you can. If they got a vehicle, motorcycle, whatever it is that they're traveling on, get all the information that you can. But you have to develop, people in neighborhoods have to develop a buddy system. This thing of ignoring each other and blowing each other off, we no longer can do it. And this crosses all racial lines, straight up and down. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I think we've said all we could say about this situation. You know, key points to take away from this is gotta not take the same route home every day. Switch it up.
Mm-hmm.
Have a properly well lighted place. Get a
No slumlords.
Right.
Sound like we have some slumlords over here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, the Google reviews on the mobile home park are
Straight trash.
Yeah, they're not very
Trash. Trash. Ain't no sugarcoating it. Straight trash.
good. Oh boy. Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, and of course, you know, there's probably some listeners out there saying, "Oh, well, it's a trailer park. Oh, that's regular stuff." You know. But
No, it's not. It's not regular. Like I stated earlier, I've been to some nice ones. I've been to some raggedy ones. There's a difference.
Right. But I'm just saying, you know, it's, you know, whenever you say the word trailer park, usually what comes to mind, most people's mind,
It's a misconception.
hey, well, I'm just saying, okay, I'll just speak for myself then. When I hear trailer park, I live around them too. When I hear trailer park, I think low income housing. And of course, like you said, it's a misconception. Not all trailer parks are low income. There's some nice ones out there. But even if that was the case, and you know, all the trailer parks are low income housing, just because you live in low income housing doesn't mean that you're not
Balling.
well, yeah, it doesn't mean that you're not, well, not, I don't want to use the word entitled, but that you're not allowed to be afforded some type of security. If you have a job, you're working, you're a productive member of society, but you just can't afford, you know, your money's not right, so you can't get to the next level yet. Well, hey, you know, why not live in a mobile home park, get your money up, and then, you know, get to the next level when you can. Yeah, so I didn't mean to go off on that that tangent, but yeah.
Oh, good.
Wrong with it. It's good. Great points.
Okay, we'll close out by saying the website, hindsight.com, still there. Twitter @TheHindsight. Instagram, _Hind_site. We're trying to break new ground, you know, try to get some new videos. I'm sure some of you noticed some videos that are a little bit different, you know, a little bit more exotic. There's going to be more content coming soon. Suave might even put up something. I may even put up something, surprise the listeners with. So, you know, stay tuned and keep listening to us and comment, email us, hindsight@hindsight.com. And, you know, we'll be happy to hear from you. Yes. And even the trolls, we haven't forgotten about you either.
We love y'all niggas.
All right, folks. Take care.
Peace.
Take care. Well, peace.